Good morning. This morning we're going to be talking about. I'm sorry, I got to take the earbud out. My sinuses and everything else is causing that thing to be way too loud. Make sure that I'm not on there any. Okay, sorry about that. I had tried the earbud because of the wind, but it wasn't working. So, this morning I wanted to talk to you about your greatest power and Desert Storm. And the reason I talk about Desert Storm is I was there 31 years ago. We were on our way back from Bahrain, where we were on the cruise ship, the Princess Canard. I sat on the deck watching the fighter bombers go overhead and knew that we were going to war. And that was about 2 a.m. our time. And 3 a.m. Is when President Bush came on TV and said that we were at war. And back in States, it was January 16th. That's why people get confused with dates. We go with real time. Real time was 2 o'clock in the morning, Saudi time. And that's why people confuse the dates. But, you know, it started the war that lasted only 100 days, and it was the shortest war that we had ever fought in, and to me the most successful. But it was preparation that led up to it that got us there. You know, the 5-6 months that we spent doing that, you know, is where we got to with all of the build up and stuff, you know, and that was a key part of winning the war. So just, you know, I remember being at Cobalt Towers in Dhahran the night of the 17th, maybe the morning of the 18th, and we had the first, it was morning of the 18th, we had the first Scud attack, you know, went to Mach 4, you know, and all that. And so, you know, that's some of the things that stand out to me. But anyway, let's go to greatest power. So your greatest power is you, okay? And you're thinking, how is myself, my greatest power? It's very simple. You help somebody, you talk to somebody, you show that you're concerned about them. That right there is the greatest thing that you can do for an individual who is going through a tough time. None of this mumbo jumbo, it can go two sides of the way, you know. But people will say, hey, get over it, it's all in your head and whatever, you know. Of course, that's that toxicity that we talked about before, and you just have to get that out of your life, you know, because of the fact is that, you know, the more toxicity that you allow in the lives, the more toxic the life's going to be. So let's talk about yourself as the greatest power that you have. Misha Pimble Belkin was quoted in the movie Koranaga, and if you ever watched the movie, it's very intense. It is live shot video by a cameraman, and Sebastian Younger wrote a book, you know, on these people. It was 2 books out. One was The Tribe, and the other one was War. And both of the books are really good. You know, they really get down to who you are as a person. Because in combat, you know, we talk about in the Army being stripped of everything, you know, when you go in, so you can build a soldier. In combat, you will be stripped of everything, because the fact is you have to integrate and you have to interact and you have to do things that you never thought you would do in your life with other people, you know. And one of those things is defending other people and not worrying about yourself. So he goes on to say, pretty much every day we got into a firefight. Our friends were killed, people lost arms and legs. I never thought I was going to make it out of the valley alive. This type of environment, like this, extracts a massive amount of psychological toll on soldiers. He goes on to say, We were closer than family will ever be. I would throw myself on a grenade, and the guys know that without hesitation. And when you make that kind of statement and those people know that you're going to back that statement up. In other words, you are willing to give your life for them, and they're going to do the same thing. This is why I said, now I'm not saying that we're going to ever be in that situation, I hope. And you may, if you're young and you join the military, well, you may be in that situation, But what you have to realize is that Greg, I don't let anybody into the video. I just do my own videos, so this is not like a Zoom or anything, okay? Thank you. Sterling Jones, another soldier, said, I am not doing it for my country. I could give about anyone else. It is guys to my left and right. And of course, that's what you will hear from people who joined the military and who have been in combat and who have been in tough situations. Maybe not combat, but if you've been on long deployments, or you've been in the field for 90 days, or you've been in NTC, or you've been to wherever, you bond. I enlisted, and why people join is different. You don't join, when you don't join for the people to the left and right of you. You join for education, you join for patriotism, you join for your family has a long line of history or whatever. I joined because my family has a long line of history. I have 4 uncles, 1 aunt, 1 cousin, my dad, who all served, and so I have that long list. This is, and as years go by, it changes the soldiers' opinion, and when they re-enlist, they are re-enlisting for the people to the left and right, because they develop that bond, and that bond is what pulls them out of situations that they get into. Misha, being willing to throw himself on a grenade, those type situations, and the reason he does that is because he knows everybody else will do that for him. When Misha does go down that dark path of suicide, he is pulled out by 3 of his brothers saying, you can't do that. You don't have permission to die today, because if you die, I'm going to die. And basically it gets down to the point of, you lose 1 soldier and that takes 1 person out of the fight, and it could cause another soldier to get shot. So you can't take yourself out of the fight. And so this is going to get into a little bit of suicide, because of the fact that of how you have to interact. So you can't allow yourself, I don't want to say the right of taking yourself out of the fight. You have to be there for your brother and sister veterans, okay? The reason I say that it's a life, and the reason I say that, in combat, it's a life and death situation. It's very different than in the civilian world. You will never find the dedication, the intensity, the camaraderie, the whatever that you find in the military. You just don't. And it will never, you can never bring it up. The military is the elephant, the civilian is apple. Very little in common, very little thing. These statements he makes speaks volumes of the bonds of love and trust among those in the tribe. So the power of the tribe is what I'm going to refer to that from this point on. They have a tribe, and I know y'all have this thing way back in your brain. Tribe, you're thinking Indian, okay? Get that out of your head, okay? We're in the modern day. I refer to this, the bonds are sacred and strong, and that's why those bonds are important, because pull out, here, and this is Sterling again. He said the loss of soldiers hit him hard. He got to the point where he didn't care whether he lived or died. He said he would actually shoot back and not duck. This is how he felt. That is how he felt in protecting guys. This action is not anxiety, but grief. So it was not anxiety that he was feeling, it was grief. And he was so lost in the shuffle that he was going out there and shooting at the enemy without ducking, and you duck and cover, one of the basics of combat, and these actions and behavior could have led him down the path of suicide. But if you listen close in the movie, it is the power of the tribe that saves him and helps pull him out of that tunnel of despair. The soldiers around him realized what was going on with Jones, and a few soldiers picked him back up. And that's, like I said, it's different. The reason I'm using this example is because I need that clear line where it's just the civilian thing going and it's the veteran thing going. And it will always, for me, be the veteran thing going. Okay. And this is what I am talking about with veterans and thinking about suicide. Without the power of the tribe, it is easier to go down that rabbit hole and say, and like I said before, it is not about raising awareness, a bill passed for better mental health, or anything like those things. It is going to help us prevent suicide. What is the key to this is having the daily interaction with veterans. The person with the power of the tribe, the reason the power of the tribe works is because it is the people who make it work. And so that's why the power of the tribe works. The veterans that are in that tribe want the best for their buddies, okay? So they are going to work to do that. They're not going to leave their brother behind, and I know that there are a lot of things out there. People say, hey, I got your shit, and then shit hits the fan and they don't got your shit, okay? And the power of the tribe is something soldiers in combat have talked about, because it is the power of the tribe when they have been wounded that has got them back to being out of that hole of wanting to go to suicide. It is something that helps them get through the tough times. It is family. In my deployments, I spent so much time with my soldiers, I could tell in the dark who was walking, who was smoking, who was the way they held their rifle, or anything like that, because I spent so much time with them that I could tell who the soldier was without even having to call his name, and I mean, without have to ask who it is. I knew who it was, because that's the attention to detail and the things that you notice, and you know who they are, and it's the key to helping someone in a situation is paying attention to their body language, conversations, statements, actions. Just like Jones said, he wanted to run out there, start shooting, and not duck. Those actions are the type of actions that his buddy saw and pulled him back in and kept him from going down that hole. When this is all taken away, the break of the power is a break of power in the tribe. So when a soldier comes home from deployment, all of a sudden that tribe's gone. Okay? Yes, you're back at Fort Hood or wherever, and yes, you're home, and yes, you're safe, but you don't feel safe because your brothers and sisters that were there for you no longer are there. They've gone back to their families. They've gone back to doing whatever. If you're active duty, you go back to doing your duty. You go back and do it. But there's going to be that one or two that are in that hole that need the power of the tribe. It's the one reason that soldiers start drinking, doing drugs, self-isolation, trying to find something that will replace the power of the tribe. and it's not going to find it because it's not anything else out there that can substitute the power of the tribe. We know that this is a path of self-destruction. This is where you as a friend comes into play. A story that you need to tell your buddy is that you are here. I want you to live. You are not a burden. The term, and it's in the book Warrior by Shauna Springer, says, when we connect, we survive. And that's talking about the tribe connecting and us surviving together. As I said, the mind is where the battle takes place. And I'm hoping y'all are hearing this with the wind picking up. The battle can only be fought by the person that is going through it. We can help them by being there and listening to them, but they are the ones that have to fight the battle. It is the warrior instinct to protect the ones around them. However, it is not an automatic instinct to protect themselves. This is brought out in the movie, and again, it is the soldier's buddies to protect him and vice versa. His focus is totally on others. He is never worried about himself. He is only worried about those people around him. When you get out in the military, they don't have that, So, I gotta figure out if I flip pages here. Anyway, so a question is, how can we help draw strength from how can we help by drawing strength you can draw strength from the tribe if you stay to give you the will to fight. This is the reason that the plan has been, another reason that the plan of the professional defender, which is the psychologist and the social workers, has been in place for many years. But however, the disadvantage that the therapists and stuff have is that connection to the veteran. While it's a good model, it is often overlooked, such as trust. And of course, we know that trust is a huge factor for a veteran when we're talking about something like our combat and stuff like that. And like I said, the mind of the warrior, he has been taking care of everybody, and now there's no one to take care of himself. So he is confused, and he starts being intense, hypervigilance, thinking that the world around him is out to get him. In his warrior mindset, he is confused because he must take care of himself. This is something that a long time ago, this is something that took me for a long time to realize, because as an NCO, I obviously took care of my soldiers. And, when I got out of the military, I had to learn to take care of myself. Knowing the power of the tribe shifts the way I see suicide prevention. Instead of asking, how can I help you come up with a plan to pull yourself out of this crisis? And that's where the other statement's at. I found it. A better question is, how can we help you draw strength from your tribe to give you the will to stay in the fight? So, and that's the other thing. You need to encourage your friends to have a tribe, whether it's 2, 3, 4, whatever. It doesn't have to be like it was in the Army. In the Army, you had your squad or you had your platoon, but then you had your 2 or 3s. And those 2 or 3s are the ones that were that tribe. And the rest of them filled in when the other ones wasn't there. As in the group, your tribe members watch out for each other. So it's the same thing that we were doing in combat. We weren't watching for ourselves because we had people watching for us. The mental health provider does not know the members of your tribe. It changes the professional defender to a solitary defender. So, that's why having a tribe is important, because you are a solitary defender. You're trying to do it all yourself. That is one of the greatest power you have, that I have, is me reaching out to the vendor standing next to me. And so I know maybe the wind was a little choppy today, and I'm hoping that everything was clear enough for you to understand. You don't have to have a tribe. A tribe is where you need to get to, if you can. But 2 people can be a tribe. So you can reach out to that one person and become that person's tribe person. And then another person comes along, and then you have 3, and another person comes along, and then you have 4, and we got a wind gust coming. So that's how the power of yourself, the greatest power of yourself, is to reach out. I told my friend TC yesterday with veterans, volunteering for Veterans Produce. It's a great organization, and you should check it out. Yeah, Greg, it's great that you're involved in multiple organizations. Just don't overcommit yourself, Greg. Make sure that you're staying within what you're able to do. So that you can take care of yourself too. So make sure you're doing self-care, Greg. That's one thing I tell people who are involved in a lot of different things. You have to be careful that you don't overcommit. But like I said, the power of the tribe, the power of yourself to be there for that person, is the greatest power you have. You can change a person's life just by saying, I'm here, I'm listening. And all of a sudden, that road that they're going down, you can turn. They will turn. You have nothing to do with this. They have to do this. It's just like I told people, if I reach out to somebody trying to help them, I cannot help them until they are willing to get the help. And it is one of those things that you have to know that you can almost literally beg that person to get help, and it's not going to do any good. It is that one individual, that person, that has to say, okay, I hit rock bottom, it's time for me to get help. And that's it. Once they get there, then you can start being there, listening. Maybe you can say, hey, I got a friend, they're into holistic therapy. Maybe holistic therapy is the way you go. Kirk Poe, which I post this stuff. He's a great holistic therapist. If you want to check that out on my page. But if you want to go traditional talk therapy, there's people. But you have to be there for them. You have to walk with them, because that first 2, 3, 4 sessions is not going to be easy. So you have to be able to stay with them. Don't leave them. When they start doing good, that's great, but don't leave them, because it's so easy for that rabbit hole to open up, swallow them up again, and all of a sudden they're alone. So make sure that you are there for them. Make sure that you're just listening. Don't try to get advice. Don't try to say I understand what you're going through. Don't try to do any of that. Just say, I'm here, I'm listening. Listening is one of the most overlooked talents that we have. But by listening to somebody, they feel like that, hey, I finally found somebody who actually cares about me as a person, and who is not judgmental, I'm going to say something, I can tell this person anything. And those relationships take time, okay? I have a few of them, but they have taken a couple years to get to. And, you have to do that. You have to do that. You have to just stay with it. Consistency, being authentic, being transparent. I share my story all the time with people of my mental health journey, And that is to say, I know what you're going through. I'm here for you. You know, and you know, that is what it's all about. It's about helping that one veteran. That's why my page is the way it is. Help the veteran standing in front of you. I don't try to go for all these lofty, big goals. Okay, those are great. But if I don't help the one veteran next to me, then am I any better than anybody else? You know, so, you know, think about these things. You know, you can reach out to me on Messenger and say, hey, I was thinking about this, let's talk or whatever. Even if you just want to discuss what we talked about. You know, maybe it piqued an interest in you. Maybe you want to find out more about it. Whatever it is, I'm here for you, you know, and I'm not going anywhere. You know, and that's a great thing about social media. I can reach out to you around the world and everything's the same. So y'all take care. I hadn't decided next week. I may do suicide prevention. I hadn't done that in a couple months because of January. It's kind of one of those times where wintertime, snow, all that things change. But anyway, y'all take care. Have a good day, and I'll see you next week.